We'll start with this quote, which is one of my favorite quotes, which I generally quote in any of my sessions. It's through David Ogilvy, who has been the father of advertisement. And he has correctly said that in this modern world of business, it is absolutely, what do you say, useless to be a creative and an original thinker if you cannot sell the ideas what you create. It means you can be good at ideation phase or a conceptualization phase, but if the customers don't like your idea, if you cannot pitch your idea to the customer, if the idea is not sellable, that is as good as no idea at all. Which brings to an important thing, is that sales is the moment of truth. What is a moment of truth? Moment of truth is when a customer or a customer has an impression or gets to touch your brand, product, and service and forms an impression in his mind. And as far as sales is concerned, this is from the horse's mouth. So customers, this is from the horse's mouth. The salesperson receives the information, and this is the first test of an idea, of a service, of a product, which is known as the moment of truth, which is a very inherent part of anything what we do in our lifetime as well as in our corporate. In this course, we will more or less focus on the B2B sales perspective or the enterprise sales. Uh, Another good line is that in this 50 years, we might have progressed too much in the tools or techniques at our disposals. But the basic tenet of any B2B relationship or any B2B sales or enterprise sale still remains the same. And it is driven by only one thing, which is relationship, relationship, and relationship. This is pivotal to understand that relationships still drives the maximum amount of sales which is done. All of you might be having an idea what sales is really about. So, according to some salespeople, or according to some even sales managers, the salespeople's job is to communicate value. So they consider salespeople as a mouthpiece of an organization by throwing some jargons or communicating value to the customer for the product and the services. Basically communicating the mission statement or the vision statement of the product or the service, etc., etc. While according to according to what I think is the incorrect information. The salespeople job is not communicating value. Salespeople job or the salesforce job is creating new value for a customer. It is addressing a new problem. It is opening a new market. It is basically telling to the customer that if you don't take an action now, what lies in front of you, a no action today, a no urgency today might lead you to an opportunity cost in the near future. You can think of it as you can think of an example like 3 to 5 years back, there was not much hoopla about this artificial intelligence or machine learning and all. That time, some Salesforce people might be silently working for the new reality of the world, which is moving the world towards a data-driven approach. And what they unlocked during that time is bearing fruit during this time. It might be a 1 or 2 years of gestation cycle for the sales, but what they did during that time is creating new value to a customer, making the customer aware of the new possibilities, new opportunities. And that's what sales is all about. It is not communicating value. It is not communicating any jargon. It is unlocking new value for a customer. Before we move to the next slide, why actually the sales force is required? I mean, if the product and the services are so smart as propagated by some of the companies that their product sells themselves, this is actually a misnomer, because the ideas, when they reach up to the product stage or when reaches up to the sellability stage, some of the companies propagate that their product or the what you say services are superior and they not require any sales people. But if you go deep inside it, enterprise sales, I mean, this is one area which is like a mammoth sales force is required over here because of two reasons. First of all, the sheer size of an enterprise. I mean, passing a proposal or passing a proposition through a through a company is much more like passing it through a Lok Sabha or something, some bill through Lok Sabha and all. There are a couple of hindrances in any corporate. The first hindrance might be the legacy issues, might be the sunk cost of the incumbent, might be internal politics, or might be the sheer inertia of a corporate of not doing anything. And that is exactly why a sales force is required. The sales force is required for moving that person or moving that enterprise from a state of inertia to a state of urgency, triggering the need, triggering the urgency, and what do you say, making them understand that if you don't do any action right now, what lies in front of you. So this is a misnomer where people say that salespeople are not required and they will be replaced in future, which is not the case in B2B enterprise sales. With the sheer size of enterprise, salespeople will be pivotal in driving the adaptability, driving the product and the services because of the internal challenges of a big enterprise. Uh, that finishes the first part of what sales is all about and why do we require salespeople. Before jumping into the structured sales process, we will go into a structured sales process where I will take you through the various steps or the techniques or the tools which might help you. Obviously, you have to personify this according to your working style, but which might help you according to my working and according to my 1 decade of experience. These are some of the areas which I've jotted down. So the first and the foremost thing in opening up anything is acquiring a sales mindset. Now, this is the heart of the matter is your mindset. The sales cannot happen if you think about sales in a hesitant way or in a negative light. Whatever you do, the 80-20 rule applies is that 80% of the thinking happens for the mindset. It's all about how you view sales. That will make or break whether you are a successful salesperson or you are an average or a mediocre salesperson or you are a low performer. The 20% is only your sales technique, tools, and all those things. So you understand one thing, that 80% of the problem or of the solution is in your mindset, where you have to condition your brain that sales is enjoyable and definitely move away from looking at sales from a negative or a hesitant way. Uh, Also, one caveat that in this session, I will not be talking about all those things like anybody can sell or you can sell a shampoo to a person or you can sell a pen to anybody. This is more like from my experience and more from a journey perspective. Uh, Also, salespeople should take pride in one of the fact that they are the people who are making the economy move. So without a transaction of the goods and the services, the economy will just stop. So you have to condition your mind in such a manner that you have to take pride in the sales what you are doing, and you have to understand that as salespeople you are helping the company, the economy move, the country move, and the GDP move. Uh, Taking one example or rather an analogy, imagine that you have got a call from a friend and the friend has been to a restaurant and he just called you for sharing his experience that he had a wonderful experience in a particular restaurant. The steak was good, the dessert was fabulous, the hospitality was amazing, and basically the A to Z of the hospitality, the dining experience, what he liked was unchallenged. I mean, he had never liked it more than this experience before. So while you are listening to this friend, definitely what is happening is that you are getting excited to the idea. What that friend is doing is simply sharing. He's simply sharing one idea with you, or he is simply making you interested that, hey, why don't you go and check out this restaurant. So you see where I'm coming from. I'm coming from that sales doesn't need to be pushy. Sales and sharing, these are pretty much synonymous thing. When you believe in your product, when you believe in your services, you don't need to push. You just need to tie your services with feature, benefit, and advantage, and provide a gentle nudge to a particular customer. So sales, think about sales as something sharing or educating a customer rather than being pushy. And while you are sharing some interesting information to a customer, definitely if you can tie it to the feature and benefit, then a slight nudge in the positive direction might help the buyer to make a buying decision at all. So this is the heart of that matter, which is mindset. uh, if you can solve the mindset, rest everything can follow as it is. I was hearing in the poll that somebody told that they're low on confidence and all. When I started sales, yes, I was also low, but slowly and steadily, I have conditioned my mindset for a winning thing. And right now, I mean, it has all gone easy with years of experience and all. The second thing which I want to talk about is product inventory. I've seen many salespeople fail in what they do because they have no square idea about what they are selling. They read some documents and all, but they have not got in depth into what product or services they are taking to market. This is one very important thing where you should understand the product inside out. A simple thing like our product has filling the blanks, which will allow you to filling the blanks, and that means filling the blanks. The first statement, our product has, this is the feature of the project, which will allow you to, this is the benefit what your product will provide to a customer, and that means this is the advantage statement. So the feature, benefit, and advantage, this all things need to be tied, and this all things should be etched in your memory while you walk inside a meeting, or while you speak to a customer. You should be crystal clear about what your product is all about, and this is known as product inventory.
Sudipto, as we're talking about product inventory, we have a very interesting question, a very specific question, I would say. Amandeep Singh is saying that what if he's a representative of Suzuki and there is someone from Toyota or a similar competition who's making the same pitch and has the same stand in the market? How to win in such a situation, and how politeness or being humble would help you in that way? How do tech giants really rely on salespeople to move forward in their business?
Valid point. You have to differentiate. If you are a Toyota sales consultant, you have to differentiate your product from what added advantage you can provide, which Maruti Suzuki cannot provide. I mean, a simple thing which comes to my mind is Glanza versus Baleno comparison. While the question might come, why should I get a Glanza when I can get a Baleno from Maruti Suzuki? Both are the similar model. I mean, the question should come to your mind that what extra I can provide to this customer and nudge him towards buying my product. The first thing which comes to my mind is that Maruti is a behemoth. The 55% to 60% market share commandment. I mean, you won't get the same treatment if you walk inside a Maruti service station versus if you walk inside a Toyota service station. I mean, you will be just one person, one in a million in a Maruti workshop, while you will be one in 100 in a Toyota workshop. So you can guarantee him superior services for what you say his Glanza, if he's purchasing Glanza from you. So these are some of the ways where you can politely nudge the customer towards your fold by differentiating some amount of your product or services. In this case, the product cannot be differentiated, but you can differentiate and play on your strength, which is services. You can provide superior services to that person, and you can convince him on that pitch.
Shrita, if I may add, because it was a very interesting question by Amandeep. He's also kind of trying to ask how do tech giants rely on salespeople. Hi Amandeep, this is Debojit. I think most tech giants, if you talk about the Facebooks and the Googles of the world, there's a huge dependence that even they have when they're entering new markets in order to gain significant market share from the corporates within that specific market. If you remember, even now how Facebook advertises, most of their revenue is coming from the advertising options that you take, and they have significant number of salespeople trying to sell their services because the revenue is dependent on that. Most tech giants have a freemium model where a part of the service is free and the rest of the service they command a premium, and for that they need very, very aggressive salespeople. So very fundamental, irrespective of the organization that you are a part of, the sales organization is, and that's what I think Shrita is very beautifully signifying till now in terms of how it is very important. Yeah, Shrita, you can move ahead.
Sure. Moving ahead, the third critical part before you even walk inside a meeting or before you even talk to a customer is market segmentation and the client profiling. So what I mean by this is, what I mean by TAM or TAM is total available market. So what is the total available market? Generally, it's the universe. But can you cater to a particular universe? No, because you don't have a wherewithal. You don't have a manpower. You don't have what do you say, the required budget for catering to this particular TAM. So what you do is you do a funneling approach. You have to find out the proper prospect to whom you can sell. So you have to profile the prospect. The profiling means you have to list down, then categorize and prioritize. I'll take a small example and explain what I mean by list, categorize, and prioritize. But do understand that many times the salespeople fail not because they are bad at the job. Many times the salespeople fail because they are simply selling it to the wrong person. Just imagine my first example. If that person might be talking where he had a beautiful experience of having steak and all, if he is talking to a vegetarian person, I mean, he is simply sharing that idea to somebody who might not be interested in that idea at all. Uh, so keep that in mind that your segments, your list, category, and prioritization has to be proper. Taking an example, imagine that you are from a pest control company, and the first interaction, I mean, you have been allotted a territory and all. I have been asked to cater to that territory. The first instance will be I can sell it to all, but that is not possible humanly. So you have to profile. So you have to list. So I have a list with me which says we can sell it to homeowner, we can sell it to restaurant, we can sell it to bank, we can sell it to community center, a warehouse, commercial properties, gym, theaters, storage facilities, etc., etc. But can we sell it to all? No. Again, you have to funnel down list to categorize. Now you can categorize this list into three parts. You can categorize it into commercial and residential. So you can categorize this restaurant, bank, or warehouse, or commercial properties under the commercial column. You can categorize the homeowners under the residential column, and you can devise one more category which is a hybrid. Like one homeowner can have 5 or 6 apartments, so you can categorize them in hybrid. Now you have to think, like with the resources you have, with the budget you have, with the marketing budget, with the sales budget you have, which category you have to prioritize to target. So that is what I mean by listing your territory, then categorizing the entire list, and then prioritizing so that you can sell it to a proper what do you say, proper target audience. The fourth thing before we take a pause is a competition analysis. Now, it is very, very important that even before you walk inside a meeting, you should be very clear about who your competitor are. A simple FBA analysis might help you to understand that C1, C2, C3 might be your competitor, and you can do some Google search or internet search or talk with relevant people and find out that what you are providing, what is missing in your competitor, which feature benefit advantage is missing, which feature benefit advantage is common to all of you, so that when you devise a presentation or you are talking to a customer, you can you are not shooting in dark. You exactly have done your homework from research to categorization to product inventory and competition analysis, and you're walking inside a meeting much more informed rather than just waking up and just going for a meeting. So big enterprise sales, opportunity gone is gone forever. So it's very important. These are large scale deals. I mean, it runs into crores and crores. So you cannot have that laxity where you walk inside a meeting without proper analysis. So these all things are required for researching before you even walk inside a meeting. I think we'll take a poll over here. Dharvi, over to you.
Yes, Sudeep, the very insightful section. But before we move on to the next session, we have some very interesting questions with us. Palasha here asks, if a new business that doesn't have much to flaunt to the target corporate, how do you pitch your product and build the trust as a new player in the market? Sudipto, would you like to take that up?
Sorry, I could not hear you, Dharvi. Please.
I will repeat the question for you. Palasha in the audience asked us, if a new business that doesn't have much to flaunt to the target corporate, how do you pitch your product and build the trust as a new player in the market?
Okay. Interesting question. I think coming from a startup, we do understand where this question is coming from. So in case it's a new corporate and you have come up with a new idea or something, best way would be to do a proof of concept before even launching this product or services to some big enterprise. First of all, the big enterprise won't be much interested in it before you do some success factor in some smaller companies. So you have to again do a market profiling where you can see which all companies might be interested even testing your product. As Debojit was explaining, you might have to devise, if it's a software product, you might have to devise some kind of a freemium thing where for first 30 days you might give it as free so that for getting the people excited, and then you can if they are satisfied with the product and services, then you can have that charging module with them.
Shruti, if I may add to what Palasha asked, I agree with you that we'll should definitely have some smaller successes. I think along with this, the vision and mission statement also will make a lot of difference. I mean, when you're a new organization, what you have mostly is a dream, right? There is an imagination of a future that's beautiful and that's different from the current. And if you are in close touch with the owners who have actually devised that vision for the company, and if you are able to sell that vision to the corporate, it always helps in terms of explaining them why the organization started in the first place and what are they trying to achieve in the first 1-2 years of their existence. It also helps a lot of times, Palasha, to tell the corporate that you are going to be my first client or second client, and I'm going to give my 200% because your satisfaction will decide whether I exist in the market or not. And therefore, my success is dependent on whether you are happy with my services, and therefore, I'm going to give my best. So be transparent. I think that helps. And also tell them why we started in the first place. And that helps in building a lot of confidence.
Debojit, if I may, but just I understand in B2C setup, explaining yourself and building that trust, explaining your vision and mission might work. But a big giant who's going to invest crores and millions in you, just telling the why would work.
Dharvi, the only thing that works normally in sales is telling the why. Everything else is just filler. The problem is people don't spend enough time in mentioning the why to the customers or the clients, and they directly jump to the product. They directly start talking about this is my product, this is my feature, these are my benefits, but they don't tell them why are they selling what they are selling and what will be the benefit out of it. So irrespective of whom you are selling it to, even if you're going and selling to a Microsoft and you're a very small company who is an accessory organization for the Microsoft computers that they produce, tell them what is the vision with which you are going to expand your own organization. Even if they feel for a moment that you have the power to challenge them one day, that would be enough to sell your pilot. I mean, obviously they may not be investing crores in you on day one, but they will be definitely be interested to invest maybe 5-10 lakhs in you to at least test you out given your body language and passion. And post that, it's about whether you can deliver or not. Post that if you can't deliver, you have only yourself to blame. But if you can deliver, then more doors will open.
Very beautiful. Yeah, please go ahead.
Debojit, I have a question related to edtech organizations. Many edtech organizations are mushrooming these days, and they all copy each other, and they all offer identical products and identical features, and they sell their products for a dirt cheap price. So it's very difficult to differentiate in the market. So what do you suggest in order to do well in the market for an organization?
Dinesh, I'm assuming you have joined an edtech organization. My assumption could be wrong. And last time, if you were 5 days old, now you're 12 days old. But Dinesh, firstly, try and understand. Can I request everyone to please keep themselves on mute? Yeah, so very important, first of all, Dinesh, to identify clear USPs. I think Sudipto very beautifully mentioned that how is my product different from anyone else in the market, irrespective of similar features. There could be a 90% overlap with competitors, but there has to be one thing that is different that your organization provides and others don't. Take the example of Taj Hotels as a 5-star don't really provide something significantly different. The amenities are more or less same. but they are just world-class, hospitable, and that gives them an edge over others. Now Taj is 100 years old. Obviously a startup which is 6-month-old, 2-year-old, you'll have to quickly find out, how am I different? How are my customers remembering me when they're thinking of 3 similar names? If you ask 5, 10, 100 of your existing customers, how do you remember me as compared to others? I think you will get the answer. Focusing on that helps while mentioning everything else as an hygiene factor. For that, a little bit of market research with your existing customers could be a very good way of finding.
Thanks, Debojit.
How about we take our poll first before moving into the next section, and then we'll take the other questions at the end of this section. Can we have the poll on the screen, please? Yes. The first question is, pick top 3 skills that you think you need to improve while pitching a product. It could be giving a demo, probing, negotiating, or objection handling, customer research, cold calling, or closing. I would request everyone to please answer the question so that we can project the results on the screen. As I can see from here, negotiation is one of the top contenders in our poll question here. And the next to that is closing. Very interesting answers. Sudipto, would you like to take it from here?
Sure. Okay. So now that our preliminary research and everything is done, we will go into a step-by-step procedure. This is a complete sales cycle. It starts from research to meeting a client, then presentation, then demo, then delivering options, then pricing, then negotiation, legal, and closure. So we'll go through each and every step, and let's see if we can find something interesting over there. Okay, now your preliminary research and everything is done. It's time for introductory meeting. Whenever you are there inside the customer's cabin, or you are in a meeting room, or in today's world, maybe a Zoom call or a Google Meet, your conduct, your body language, your listening skills, your communication skills all play a pivotal role. In this aspect, there are 2 things. First is an open-ended question, and the second is a close-ended question. So in a meeting, definitely the 80-20 rule applies. What does it mean is that 80% of the time the customer should speak, 20% of the time only you should open your mouth. It doesn't mean that it is a interrogation, but more the customer speaks and more you can engage him in a conversation, the better would be this introductory meeting, as well as finding out the situation and the problems. So the spotlight should be on the customer. And there should be a lot of open-ended questions. I mean, don't ask questions which can be ended by a customer in a yes, no, or maybe. Invite the customer to speak in a conversation mode. Like, don't ask something where, did you like that customer vendor A's service? You can just say yes, no, and finish the topic itself. But in spite of that, if you ask that, what are those features which you didn't like in the vendor A, and that's why you are going ahead for your buying decision for a vendor B. So that will open him up to speak to you, to converse with you, and in that process, you can understand what situation he is in, what are his business objectives, what are the intricacies of that, and understand the problem statement itself. Now, the close-ended questions are very good to get a quick validation. Did you like the product? Yes, no. You can say yes, you can say no. You have got a close-ended question for a validation. So keep open-ended questions for conversation. Keep close-ended questions for a quick validation. And that is how the meeting should proceed. Be on the listening side. Many people think that listening is, if they are in the listening phase, they are not conversing. This is absolutely wrong. Active listening is a part of communication skill as much as oratory skills. In fact, much better. The listeners have an innate ability of drawing conclusion. They are good in analytical skills. They are good in data-oriented skills, and they have good grasping knowledge about the situation and the problem. So you don't need to speak all the time. You can be an active listener in that conversation. Definitely, after the introductory meeting, this is one part which is the dream of every sales guy, is to present in front of the higher ups or in front of the CXOs. So once you have found out the problem, the entire cycle, the time from where you have started this conversation, the various touch points and all, the problem statement, the anticipated solutions, everything should be a part of a well-structured presentation. Another thing is anticipated objection. So there might be some or the other objections which might be raised. While you can do two things, the first thing is handling objection. The second thing, which is much more beneficial, is blocking objections. So while you anticipate some kind of an objection, you should stand up and own that objection and say that, hey, Mr. Customer, I can anticipate that you might be having a problem with this kind of a pricing, but let me tell you, with the kind of feature, benefit and advantage which I have shown you, and with the amount of a differentiated product offering which I am providing you, our pricing is on a slightly higher side. So you see what I'm doing over here? I am taking an anticipated objection and converting it from a position of strength. I have converted that objection into blocking an objection and taken a higher pedestal over there by telling him upfront that my product or service doesn't come cheap. We charge a premium for the product itself. The third thing, which is very important for a software kind of a product or from a technical product perspective, is definitely demonstrating your project. Now, please understand that whatever you speak, whatever data, what you project into a presentation, that doesn't stay with the customer. That doesn't stay with the customer for quite long period. What stays with the customers is visual. What stays with him is a live demo, and what stays with him is analogy. You might have seen the movie Drishyam, that particularly harps on this particular aspect, which is visual. So visual thing stays in our mind much more than what data can ever stay. So when you are demonstrating your product, if it is a live demo, fantastic. If it is not a live demo, you should have some visual screenshots and all, which you can quickly run through. If visual is also not possible, then you should have some kind of an analogy, where analogies are a great way of breaking some complex problems into smaller problems which general people can understand. So these all things are particularly important in your presentation and a demo round. If you are not doing this, then please start doing it, because presentation and data doesn't stay with the customer for long. These are the visual things are the only thing which stays with the customer after he walks out of the meeting. Sorry. Yeah. So what we have done till now, we have researched, we have done our introductory meeting, we have done our presentation, we have done our demo. Now we have hopped on the, feature, advantage, benefit, and we have spoken to him a number of times through call. We have met him 3 times on a face-to-face meeting, given him a demo, given him a presentation. Now is the time for developing options for a client. Now, when I say options, is that in this phase, you definitely stop selling to the customer, because the customer is nodding in agreement with you. Okay, I've seen everything. I've seen your presentation and all. I want to move ahead. And now tell me what my options are. So you have to develop options to him. Option 1, option 2, and option 3. At this stage, stop selling, please, and be with the customer to educate him. You have to understand selling is a performing art. While you are educating a customer, you have to entertain that customer and make him interested in your product and services. So educate the customer, find out the pros and cons of option A, option B, option C. Tell the customer that if they go with option A, then what will be the cons, what all is not covered in option A, what all is covered in option B, what all is not covered, what all is covered in option C, what all is not covered. And in this process, nudge the customer towards the option which you want him to gravitate to. Definitely, there's one more option which is hidden, which is no action. So tell him about, educate him, not tell him, educate him about if he doesn't take any action right now, what will be the opportunity cost, what will be the future which lies in front of him by not taking that action, and basically create an urgency in the mind of a customer that action is required. whether option 1, option 2 or option 3. While you are presenting option, the very logical part flows is pricing proposal. Now, I think Dinesh asked that question, which was answered by Debojit perfectly. If there is no differentiated product and you are selling a commodity, then Dinesh, basically you have to be prepared while you walk inside the enterprise customer is that you are selling a commodity and you are doing a fair market value. Fair market value is definitely customer price plus jacked up by some kind of a margin. While if you are selling a premium price, which I was explaining that some product and services, they come on a premium. So you have to make your mind before even walking inside that whether you want to pitch a fair market value or a premium pricing model. The second thing is developing pricing options. So it has been corroborated by what do you say, research and all, that don't give two options. The customer will always gravitate towards the cheaper option. Might have seen your Airtel options, you might have seen your Geo option, you might have seen your DTH options, or you might have seen the software options also. It comes with at least 3 pricing options. And this comes from hardcore data science also, that the customer is more likely than ever to choose the middle one. So you have to develop your pricing proposition in such a manner that the customer automatically gravitates towards the middle pricing option which you have developed. Similarly to the pricing option, payment option is there, where you have to quickly lay down in the legal contract whether it is a 30-day invoicing, 90-day invoicing, so on and so forth, and what are the terms and conditions for it. So this is all. This is all in what is a sales cycle is all about. So the sales cycle.
So before we move to the next session, we have a lot of questions flowing in. Would you want to answer one or two of them before moving ahead?
Yeah, we can take one question. I think we're running out of time.
We'll just take one question first. So Saurabh asked, what are the successful ways to create urgency in a B2B sale?
Correct. Good question, Saurabh. So I was trying to explain. The urgency means you have to understand there's a trigger event. What this MTNUT means is no money, no trust, no need, no urgency, and no time. So there's always a trigger event in front of a customer where he is bound to take action. So first of all, before even walking into a enterprise meeting, it will be helpful if you can go through the annual report of a particular company. Now in an annual report, the business plans and the initiatives are very well listed and elucidated that what the company envisages in the next fiscal year. So if you understand that, understand the annual report, you will very well know that what are the priorities of the company. And that's where comes the trigger event, which is the need. From need, the urgency is delivered. So once you understand the need of a customer, that if they have to do a earning of 15%, they have to focus on Africa and EMEA region. That means in Africa, they have to go with 1, 2, 3, 4 software updates or software deliveries or software product or a service. From that, you can understand that there's a need inherent with that customer where you have to start banging his door. And you have to put that trigger event that, boss, you need this product because it's all there in your business priorities for this fiscal year, that you will go this way. And if you don't take an action right away, this might hamper the EBITDA as well as the revenue perspective which you have envisaged with this new initiative. So you're getting my point? There are always trigger events. Now you have to find out this trigger event to trigger that urgency.
Sure, Sudipto. Very interesting answer. I think we can go ahead and we'll do the Q&A later.
Sure. So couple of things why customer don't buy from you. There are 5 reasons which I have listed. One is no money, no time, no need, no urgency, and no trust. So the buying decision, I mean, you can see a downward slope or a downward resistance moment as the time increases, the resistance decreases, and at some point of time, the buying decision happens. If this buying decision doesn't happen, it might be because of these 5 reasons. So you have to find out what is the constraint, why they are not buying from you. Is it money? No. Is it time? No. He has sufficiently, he has money, that's why he has given an open door to me. He has time, he has met me some 6-7 times. Maybe I'm not able to force him to understand there's an urgency. maybe I'm not able to make him understand that if he doesn't take any action right now, it might hamper the entire business plan for the next fiscal year. So these are some of the steps where you can decipher in your mind कि वो बंदा खरीद क्यों नहीं रहा है. Money, time, need, urgency. ये सब करने के बावजूद भी if you feel that the person is still not budging, that there is an inherent trust issue. Maybe he is not trusting your company, maybe he is not trusting you, or maybe he is not trusting your product. You might have to go through the sales cycle once again with a demo, with the credibility or testimonial from your successful relationship to build that trust factor. You might have to incorporate something about your company in your presentation which gives him a trust that the company is well funded, the company is EBITDA positive, they are not somebody who can set shop right now and can go away. That kind of a trust needs to be provided. Keep this 5 things in your mind and just try to analyze if the sales is not closing, is it because of money, time, need, urgency, or the trust issue. So these are the 3 things which I wanted to tell you, is that every enterprise customer wants to know why buy, which I've answered. Why buy? If you don't take any action now, there will be a huge opportunity cost, and as a salespeople, you have to make him aware of this. Why you? Because you know your product, you know the FBA of your product, you have done in-depth amount of study into the competitor analysis, you have given him a nice presentation, you have given him options, you have nudged him towards a perfectly pitchable pricing options, and you have differentiated product with a premium pay scale. That's why you, and why now. Why now is very critical, because if you don't take an action now, it might be delayed. You might be losing on an opportunity to save money or to make more money. So these are 3 critical things whenever you are pitching to a customer. Just try to answer these 3 questions for yourself. Why should he buy? Why should he buy from you? And why should he buy right away? And the answer lies in your process. So this is the last leg. I will take another 5 minutes and then we will open it for question answers. This is the last leg which I wanted to brief you, although it's a bit away from the entire thing, but what I found is that this is one area which can definitely improve your sales pitch, which can definitely improve the product or the services what you are selling, and your communication skills, which is this story of which is the power of the storytelling. Now let me take an example. There was one journalist by Rob Watkins, I think. What he did was he purchased 200 items out of eBay, all 1 cents below, maybe 50 cents or 99 cents kind of a thing. And he asked 20 different journalists to write 200 stories about these 200 items. Now, one item was this, which he purchased it from eBay. The cost of this item was 99 cents. He gave this item to a journalist, asked him to write a story about this. Similarly, he asked the journalist to write 200 different people to write 200 stories about the 200 sub $1 article what he purchased from eBay. He listed these articles back into eBay with a storyline. Can you guess what might be the selling price of this horse bust which he purchased in $1 with a story? The purchase price, the selling price was $62.95 for this horse bust, which was sub $1 purchase price. Similarly, when he listed all these 200 pieces of artifacts with $1 and below pricing into the eBay platform with a perfect storyline, he purchased it at $129. But when it got sold, see the difference. It got sold in $8,000. And that is where the power of storytelling comes from. It's a 10.3 billion product placement industry, and the stories speak. So the stories speak to one inherent part of your brain, which is responsible for the emotions. So stories have a habit of speaking to the emotional part of the brain, and that is where the decision happens. So you might be hearing a lot about I have taken the decision based on data and all, but it has somehow been researched that majority of our decisions are emotional. Later on, we justify that emotions by using data and all, but impulsive, out of the way decisions are always triggered through the part of the brain which where our emotions reside, and these stories have a habit of touching that part, and that's why they are so appealing. I mean, whenever you are in a business conversation, try to weave a story. Uh, no, uh, Weave a story around your product, weave a story around your services, and that is what interests the client. These stories have a habit of kicking up your hormones level also. Now, there are some good hormones like dopamine, oxytocin, and endorphins. There are some bad hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, which makes you intolerable, irritable, uncreative, and all. While dopamine, oxytocin, endorphins make you relax, focus, motivation. So understand one thing, that a person has come to sell his car, and he might be selling is because he has lost his job, but that car he had purchased it from his first salary. So the kind of emotions he is going through while selling that car. As salespeople, if you weave a story rather than being so blunt about it, rather than following a normal sales cycle, a ruthless sales cycle, if you can build a story, if you can be empathetic towards him, what you are doing is that you are moving that person from this intolerable, irritable, and uncreative way to something which is where he can focus, where he is motivated, and while he sells his car, he can go home in a humorful way and in a relaxed way. This cortisol, adrenaline are known as devil's cocktail. This dopamine and oxytocin and endorphin are known as angel's cocktail. So as salespeople, while you are telling a convincing story, while you are in a deep conversation, while you are sharing information, while you are educating a customer, always the method would be to bring them from a irritable or intolerable, uncreative devil thing to an angel thing. And that's the power of storytelling, because they can do it. It has been proven by studies that storytelling has a habit of touching your brain where the hormones reside, which are feel good hormones. So that's what I will encourage, that whenever you are what you say, speaking to a customer, rather than speaking in bits and pieces, if you can weave a story. And the storytelling is also very pertinent in the business parlance. First of all, as I explained you, the stories speak to people emotion. Stuck with a choice like A and B, car A and B, or a candidate A and B, all things remaining the same. The salespeople who can weave a particular story which can appeal to the particular enterprise buyer, he is bound to get the sales done, rather than a person who is not able to touch that person emotive side. Second, stories have a habit of building common ground. It takes you from I to we, and the customer nods in agreement to you. And that's where the sales is done. When a customer is taken from a high pedestal to a common ground, and he nods in agreement to you. The third thing is the power of contrast. Now, there hasn't been any story where the boy loves a girl and the girl loves a boy and they happily live ever after. So there's a villain in the story always, and that's the power of contrast. So while you are making a new product, while you are making a new service, it gives you a plethora of options for playing with this contrast, and that is this contrast which helps you in telling a compelling business storyline. Fourth, and the very important thing is truthfulness. Now, falsehood has a very low shelf life. What sells in the market is truth, and not only truth, a truth which is well told, a truth which is articulate, which uses analogies, which uses metaphors, which uses visualization, which uses a lot of demos, presentation, and that is how you tell the truth. It is not only important that you come from a data angle and all. It is equally important that how you are telling what you are telling. The fourth is, don't state the obvious. If you have done all the 5 stages correct, if you have followed all the enterprise sales cycle correct, you don't need to state the obvious. Your call to action, or CTA, is the closure of the business deal. That's all I wanted to brief you. I hope it might have given you some understanding of what sales is all about and what this power of storytelling can do to your sales process. Thank you all. Thanks a lot.